Hi soapy friends, welcome to another What Soap Wednesday. I'm very excited to be soaping with you today. Why? Because we are using some food in our soap. We're not going to eat our soap, no, but we're going to use that food to make some extra lathery loveliness in our handmade soap. I do have a blog post that explains how, when, and why you'd want to add various foodstuffs to your handmade soap. I'm talking eggs, milk, coffee, purees, carrot puree, pumpkin puree, cucumbers. Maybe you're talking about salts, sugars, honeys, yogurts. All of that stuff's kind of included and outlined in the blog post, link below, so be sure to grab that. But for today, we're going to talk specifically pumpkin. This is pumpkin that is left over from making my holiday pumpkin pies. They were lovely, but I did save a little bit so we can make some soap with it. Now, why on earth would I want to add this to my soap instead of to a pie? Well, I only have a little bit left. Can't make a pie out of this, but we can make some soap. And that soap will have some extra luscious lather by the time we're done because of all of the sugars, proteins, fibers, all of the wonderful beneficial properties of this ingredient is really going to boost our lather. It's going to be fabulous. Also with pumpkin, this color survives saponification, so we're also going to use it to color our soap. Hurrah! The blog post that I have on my website, soapyfriends.com, adding food to your handmade soap, covers all sorts of foodstuffs. Milks, sugars, eggs, yogurts, salts, purees like we'll be doing today, coffee, teas, even beers, wines, all of that lovely stuff. So be sure to check it out, link below. Lots of great soapy information for you there. If you have any further questions on the blog post, drop comments on it. I will answer them for you. But for now, let's get to making some pumpkin soap. All right, let me show you what I have here. First, I do want to create a little bit of a color design on the soap, I think. And so I pulled out some of the Brazil wood. It's Ann George's Brazil wood. Now, I know it looks like it's the same color as the pumpkin, but it has more of a yellow tinge to it, so I'm going to mix it in with some of the batter. If it works, great. If it doesn't give me enough of a contrast, I'm also going to add, I have some Star West Botanicals hardwood charcoal. That's the lighter of the two charcoals. There's also a blog post about using charcoal in your handmade soap and the difference between hardwood and coconut. So check that out too. But I like the hardwood for when I'm just trying to darken something up a smidge. So we might be adding some hardwood to our soap as well. All right, let me set these aside for just a moment. I also have my Howell's small black box. We'll be using that for our mold. It has this wonderful lid to insulate for me. I have a 1-to-1 sodium hydroxide to lye solution. And I have 1,000 grams of oils already prepared, sunflower oil, olive oil, and coconut oil. Now, I'm using a 1-to-1 ratio for my sodium hydroxide to water because there's extra moisture, there's extra liquid in purees. How much? No idea. I don't know how much of the pumpkin is water. I'm sure there are databases that have that information. I just use a 1-to-1 sodium hydroxide to water. This means I know for sure I'm not going to have too much water in my soap, so I won't have any issues unmolding it. If you are making soaps with milks, teas, coffee, you might consider doing what's called a full water replacement, which you've seen me do in some of our color decoction tutorials. Or you could still use the 1-to-1 and add your milks, teas, coffees, extra liquids as just extra water, up to equal amounts of the water you use to make your sodium hydroxide. That is also explained on the blog post. As far as when to add, like I said, if you're dealing with liquids, you will want to add to the lye solution or to your oils, depending on how much you're using and how you're incorporating it for effects. But with our purees, I like to add them directly to the oils. I really like to add most things directly to the oils because it gives me the opportunity to do a quick stick blend before I even add the sodium hydroxide, which ensures that this organic material is going to be fully incorporated into the oils and I won't have any lumps. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. It's mentioned on the blog post for 1,000 grams of oil, I use 100 grams of puree. I think I have just under that. Let's see exactly what we have. I didn't measure when I saved it. I just saved it. Looks like I have maybe 80 grams. So, you know, close enough. So it's about 8% of my oil weight as 8% of my oil weight as my organic material or food stuff. You can go, I've gone up to 12% with carrots. That makes a wonderful, wonderful orange as well. All right, so I had 86 grams of pumpkin and in my 1,000 grams of oils. I am not scenting the soap either. No particular reason. I just chose not to scent it. So all that's in here is the oils and the pumpkin, and I'm just going to give that a burst to incorporate. Still some loose bits in there. I'm going to give it just another burst here. All right, so a few other tips for you. We have a lovely color in there now. Pumpkin, this puree that I added, it has extra sugars in it. Not that I've added sugar to the pumpkin, but pumpkin naturally has sugars to it. It will cause the saponification process to heat up. All sugars will do that. So be prepared for your batch to heat up faster than you are used to. For me, that's not a problem. The recipe that I am using is my favorite recipe for adding stuff to, which I love to do. I realize I'm always adding stuff to my soaps when I'm not doing just demonstrations on colors. So it's an extremely slow moving formula, so much so that if I'm not adding stuff, it's almost too slow of a formula. But anyway, that means that I'm not too concerned, but it still will heat up. If you are not familiar with your recipe and how fast it heats up, maybe it's something you're using for the first time, highly recommend you make a batch of just the oils, just the sodium hydroxide and water solution at average temperatures that you're comfortable soaping at. Make soap, be familiar with it before you start adding any other fun foodstuffs to it. I am very familiar with this recipe, so I am going to go ahead and proceed. I do expect this to move faster than normal. And every batch of pumpkin, I'm just straining my sodium hydroxide solution. There's a little bit of ash developing on top. Every batch of pumpkin is going to have a different amount of sugar because it's a different pumpkin. And each year it will be different. Every time you do it, it will be different unless it's always from the same pumpkin. So I don't know what's going to happen. We're just going to give this a burst and see how it goes. If it starts setting up real fast and we don't have time to color it, that's okay. We'll do something else to decorate it, but let's give this a burst with the stick blender and see what happens. Lovely. We have a nice emulsion, it looks. Let's hope that I'm setting it down because it wanted to tip earlier. All right, so I've just added a little bit of the Brazil wood here. It's maybe 1/4 teaspoon. At this small amount, there's just no way we can do any measurements. So all I'm going to do is just pour some off into here. And we're just going to color this separately. And I am really just eyeballing everything. And I'm going to add more Brazil wood. Just simply because I'm not seeing enough of a color change for me there. Normally I do make slurries with Brazil wood, but I'm being a little risky today. Being a little impulsive fun. Oh, much better color shift there. When I scooped the original amount out, I also did not know how much batter I was going to pour in. So this is all improv for you. Okay, I definitely got enough of a hue shift there. And I have 2 different colors, but I do want more contrast and I don't want to add more of the Brazil wood. I don't want to create any type of a stain. So I just want to darken it a little bit. Ooh, that is where the charcoal comes in. And look, I already made a charcoal mess. Let me wipe this off. It only takes a very little bit of charcoal to darken something. And I'm not looking for black. I really just want to darken what I have here. So these are working well, adding as dry powder. Colors, because my batter is still so fluid. If this was a thicker batter, I would definitely end up with clumps, or my batter would be so thick by the time I was doing this extra blending. Oh, that looks very, very nice. I think I am going to thicken this up just a smidge as well. So I have equal or similar-ish batter consistencies between the 2. We have a lovely trace on each, and yes, I think I'm very happy with our 2 colors. So they're very complementary colors, almost very sepia tone. I'm going to, let me get a better spoon here. Here we go. I'm just going to grab an actual scoop of this and lay it on top. There you go. Now you can see our contrasting colors. Let me go ahead and incorporate that back in. So really what I did with the Brazil wood and just a smidge of the hardwood charcoal is to intensify the original color of the pumpkin so I can get that nice contrast. Another way you can do that is with a ghost swirl. There's a blog post talking about how I do ghost swirls and how it affects color up on my blog dealing with alkanet root, not alkanet, with yellow dot root. And the ghost swirl is of course introduced to the soapy community by Auntie Clara. We all love her soap so much. Okay, let's go ahead and pour our soap. Actually, let's even tidy up a smidge before we pour our soap. All right. think I'm just going to fill the mold with the majority of this. And I think I'm going to steal a little bit back. I think I want a little bit of this to do some color stripes across the top. We'll do a little swirly top on this, I think. That should be plenty. Okay. And then we're just going to impromptu kind of drop swirl here. I think I'm going to be pouring, yeah, I'm going to pour this way. And I'm just going to start high up. I don't have a spout. All my spouts are in the sink. I've been making lots of soap today. And I'm just going to go from different heights. Those different heights will make the drop swirl go to different depths. The higher up I am, the deeper down into the soap your drop swirl will go. All right, now I'm going to just very carefully I didn't go so carefully. Some of this dropped down a little bit, but that's okay. It'll still be pretty. Saved it, but didn't need it. That is okay though. Let's go ahead and pour this in. Much easier to get it to just sit nicely on the top when you have a spout. And I'm just using the back of a spoon, and I'm just going to push these colors around and get a little bit of a swirl going here. Oh, I think that looks absolutely delicate and lovely, very much like the spices sprinkled across the top of a pumpkin pie, if you do that with your pumpkin pie, which sometimes I do. So I'm very happy with this as I sit here and nitpick it just a little bit more. All right, my soapy friends, I will be right back with a cut for you so you can see how our two-colored pumpkin puree soap turned out. Hi soapy friends, here we are with our pumpkin soaps. So there was a lot of joy and laughter in these because as they were setting up, guess who got distracted, stopped paying attention, and they overheated. I really wish I had been witty enough and reactive enough to record that for you. I did not, but the soaps did heat up, and it was all based on the pumpkin that was in them. They heated up on the stainless steel tables and had a little bit of a mini volcano, but it's fine. I just did a little extra trimming on them. The colors, we lost some of the drop swirl, just a little bit of it. These are on the edges, but the rest of it, as you can see, it's just kind of a two-color. It's not ugly, not bad, but it's not a pretty drop swirl. A lot of this one just blended all the way throughout, but we can still see the color, and they smell really good. They're one of those non-scent scents, and you can see our two colors. So our wonderful yellow here, that is just the pumpkin puree. And then the darker color here that looks like the outside of a pumpkin, that is with the Brazil wood and the charcoal. So that little color blending we did, I think they came out lovely despite the little overheating volcano. But you know, hey, lesson learned. I'm glad I could pass it on to you. So maybe you won't have to worry about that lesson on your soaps. But yeah, keep an eye on any soaps that you add, any purees, fruits, vegetables, anything with additional sugar or protein contents to it, because it can cause your recipe to overheat, get a little mini volcano. So just keep your temperatures a little bit cooler when it's setting up, and you should be just fine. I'm going to go package these up and maybe contemplate making another pumpkin pie. All right, bye soapy friends. Thanks for soaping with me.